Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows? Only time. And who can say if your love grows as your heart shows? Only time.
Good morning. I hope that you are doing well today. Hope you're ready for another week. We're going to jump right back into our history class. We've been talking about the Roman Republic. And we're coming down now to the end of the Roman Republic. We said it started in about 500 years before Jesus was born. And it's been going on steadily for a while now. But we're going to today talk about the man who, this week and next week, talk about the man who started to change the government of Rome. And by doing that, he changed the world, for good and for bad. And that man was this guy, whom I have mentioned before. His name was Gaius Julius Caesar. Although we don't usually call him Gaius, we usually call him Julius Caesar, or just Caesar for short. Most of the time when I talk about him, I will just call him Caesar. Okay? So Julius Caesar was born, we think, about the 13th of July, 100 BC. And he was born to important parents. His father was a very important man in the government in his day. But the problem with Rome at this time was that, as I've talked about this before, Rome was becoming corrupt. That meant that the people who were in charge were more worried about power for themselves and about making themselves rich, making themselves happy, and they were about caring about the people, which is what happens when you have a government that runs for a long time. It got so bad that there was a war in the very streets of Rome. The government was taken over by a very important man, this guy. His name was Lucius Cornelius Sulla. And Lucius Sulla, he attacked Rome. He was a Roman general. He attacked Rome. He attacked Rome. He took it over and became a dictator. Now, what is a dictator? Well, you've heard the word. You may hear a word that sounds like dictato in there. A dictator is somebody who tells you what to do, and you have no choice in the matter. You can't say, "No, I'm not going to do that." You have to do what the dictator tells you to do. Now, in Rome, sometimes when there was a problem, like if Rome was being attacked, we said that Rome had presidents and senators and things like that, and they were all elected. But sometimes they would say, "We have a problem, and it cannot be handled by a whole bunch of people, because people take too long to make a decision. We'll give the power over to one man, and he can be the guy in charge. He'll tell everybody what to do, and then when the problem is over, and we've beaten the enemy back or whatever, then he will give up his power, and we'll go back to the way we were doing things." Okay? Whenever they chose to do that, the man that they picked to be in charge was called the dictator. And you had to do what the dictator said. But you were only supposed to be a dictator until the problem was over. But here, Lucius Sulla, he took over as dictator. He said, "I'm not going to give it up. I'm going to be in charge now, forever." And he started causing all sorts of problems. One of the things he did was he went and killed everybody that he thought was his enemy. Anybody who thought was plotting against him, anybody who was from too important a family, anybody who he thought was his enemy, he killed or destroyed. And unfortunately, Julius Caesar's family, they were his enemies, or at least he thought they were his enemies. And he was going to have them all killed. Luckily for him, that is for Caesar, his wife was related to him. Lucius's wife was related to Caesar's family. And she begged so hard for Caesar's life that he said, okay, fine. Fine, we won't kill Julius Caesar. But I will take all his money away. Take away his money, take away his lands, take away his house. He'll have nothing. He'll have nothing. So Julius Caesar got to live, but he became really poor as a result. And so he said, okay, well, what am I going to do now? He was 16 years old. He said, what am I going to do? So they said, there's only one thing for me to do. He said, I'm going to go join the army. So Caesar went out and joined the army. He became a soldier. Because he was from a famous family, from a well-known family, even though it was poor now, he got to be an officer very quickly in the Roman army, and he started working his way up to the top. He was very smart, he was very brave, and like we said last time, he was strong. Strong in body and strong in mind. He had ideas. He was a good leader, and people wanted to follow him. He was also very tough. There's a story about one time while he was out doing whatever he was doing. He was crossing the sea. He was crossing the Aegean Sea. It's the sea right here. He was crossing that when his ship got attacked by pirates. And they attacked his ship. They captured Julius Caesar and a bunch of his men. And they sent a message back to Rome saying, we will let Caesar and all of his men go if you pay us money. And Caesar said, I'll tell you what, you let me go right now. Because if you don't, then when I get back to Rome, I will get an army together, I will find you, and I will have you all crucified. You know what that means, crucified? That's the way that Jesus was killed. When they nailed him up on the cross, yes, the Romans invented that way of killing people. So a lot of people were crucified, it wasn't just Jesus. But Caesar said, if you don't let me go, when I get back to Rome, I will get an army together, I will find you, and I will have you all crucified. And the pirates said, yeah, right, we're not scared of you. But they held on to Caesar and his soldiers. And after a while, Rome sent the money to let Caesar, Rome sent back the money so that Caesar and his men could go home. This was after Lucius Sulla had died. He died about 3 years after taking over Rome. So things were getting back to normal. So the Roman Republic sent the money, and Caesar and his men were allowed to go free. So you know what Julius Caesar did? He went back to Rome. He got himself some boats. He got himself some men. He went out sailing on the sea looking for those pirates. He found them. He attacked them. He dragged them back to Rome, and he had them all crucified, just like he said he would. And by doing that, it sent a message. Don't mess with Julius Caesar. Okay? So you can see, he was tough. He wasn't afraid of anybody, and he said, when I put my mind to something, I am going to do it. And so, he decided that, you know what? I'm going to do more than just be a soldier. I'm going to go into politics. I'm going to go into the government. And so, when he got back to Rome, after dealing with the pirates, he ran for office. We're having an election right now in Honduras for president. Well, he ran not for president. He ran for the office of tribune. Tribune. They were like governors who were still in the military. Okay, it was his very first job in the government, but he did a good job. And so he got elected to a better office, and then a better one, 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 and a better one, and a better one, and a better one, and a better one. And the other people in the government started to look at Caesar and say, hey, you know, this Caesar guy is tough. We need to keep an eye on him. Because if he decides that he wants to do more than just have a government office, we don't know if we can stop him. And they wondered, what will Caesar do? What will Caesar do? Well, we'll talk about that more on Tuesday. All right? Now, we're not done with Julius Caesar, not by a long shot. We talk about him all this week and all next week. So for now, before we end, let's go over our questions. Question number 1. When was Julius Caesar born? He was born on 13th of July, 100 BC. Question number 2. When Caesar was young, who was his enemy? And that was Lucius Sulla. Lucius Cornelius Sulla. And then finally, question 3. What was his first job in politics? And that was he was a tribune. A military governor. It was his first job, but as we'll see, it won't be his last one. So, we'll pick up with Caesar tomorrow and see what happens to him. So for now, thank you for stopping by and talking to me, and I will see you tomorrow.